Okay, now it's Tamiflu time. On this series about flu, Tamiflu glue I discovered. That's what it is. It's called a Neuraminidase Inhibitor. You can shorten that to NA inhibitor. Anything with a dase on the end is an enzyme, so Neuraminidase inhibitor is what they're calling it, and it's a sialidase because it's a sialic acid analog replacement for it. And that is a function in the cells in our body that the virus has hijacked to use. So this is a flu virus. It has 500 projections coming off of it. Most are HA, and most are HA, and the rest are NA. And I'm putting the HA down here because that's what they use to bind to the cell, to the sialic acid receptors on our cells. And that is how the virus will enter in, then dump its DNA, its genetic material, to then make copies of itself. And it buds out through the membrane, utilizing this membrane, and its projections are sticking out, and what it's going to use to cleave the receptor that binds it is to cleave it with the neuraminic acid. The neuraminidase will cut it off so it can then continue on and do its viral thing. The problem is that these receptors, the virus has hijacked our own cell receptor system, which there are several, such as sialic acid, which is on all cells in our body. Mostly in our brain. We have 2 to 4 times more than animals because our brains are so much bigger, and they are ion channels that are glycosylated. So all these cells, here is a neuron. Here is the nucleus, the head with the multiple dendrites coming off of it, which are the ears of the cell listening, and it has a singular voice that speaks to other cells with branches called the axon. And along that you'll have cells that are insulating it so there can be current for movement and thought, and on these will be sialic acid receptors. So insert Tamiflu, and it's going to gum up the works. It's going to block the receptors so that other functions in the body that use these sialic acid receptors can no longer work. How is this stuff made? It's the exact same coal tar derivatives that they use to make apparently all drugs. This is all they can come up with, are drugs from coal tar derivatives. They use phenol and formaldehyde in the vaccine production because phenol will explode cells. It blows them up, and also bacteria, including the host cells for the viruses. Formaldehyde will cross-link them, and that will kill cells and bacteria. It does not affect viruses. They discovered in 1909, if you combine them, you can create bakelite, which is the first plastic. And it starts with coal tar, goes into creosote, and this goes into synthesis gas. And these two extremes combined create a lot of plastics. So in this particular product, they are taking a derivative of phenol, which are acrylics and the vinyls. And we've got an acrylonitrile here, which otherwise known as a vinyl nitrate, plus butane, which is formed by synthesis gas becoming methanol, becoming gasoline, becoming butane. So again, you're getting a huge molecule here. The formula is carbon 16, hydrogen 28, nitrogen 2, and oxygen 4. The effects, God bless the Japanese for looking into this because they use a lot of Tamiflu, they saw that it was causing death in toddlers, hallucinations in children, and suicide in teens. Obviously, it was having an effect on the nervous system, and these effects were amplified by alcohol and other stimulants, neurostimulants. Because the virus has hijacked our cell receptor system and is affecting all the cells in our body, particularly the ones in our brain, what it's done, it's gluing up, it's dampening the LTP induction, and that's long-term potentiation, the potential of, it's the synaptic transmission of the cell. And it diminishes cell firing, it reduces sympathetic nerves, and they notice, of course, that creates hypothermia, which is increased heat loss, which doesn't help if you're using this to help one get over the effects of a virus. You're actually inhibiting the ability of the immune system to respond and the nervous system to respond. And this also explains these effects the Japanese were seeing, these horrific effects caused by Tamiflu glue. Thank you.